And Game & Watch Olimar is a wonky, wonky matchup, Yin.
I believe you. This is one that I have not seen that much. Like, there's so few Olimars, at least within like my area and everything, and out here in the Southwest, you don't see them a lot. And then alongside that, at the top level, there's like one or two, and they both have their secondaries or their new co-mains, right? You got Shutone, who uses the Aegis. You got the Buzz, who's on like the Rosa Min height now. And so, just both characters that used to be prevalent across all plays of the board, and now, you know, a little back on the back foot. Still phenomenal characters nonetheless.
Absolutely, you can't forget our boy, the Myron Zone, though, when you talk about Olimar's. As you mentioned, though, both these characters kind of have fallen out of favor, not because they've gotten any worse necessarily, but just kind of the meta, right, has shifted away from them. They don't necessarily do amazing against the quote-unquote menace that is Fighters Pass 2, but you're really seeing, right, this matchup, even as Kazii down a stock early, is just very oppressive, right? Hunk really not able to find these ways in between Bucket, the Chef. It's just so hard for Olimar to establish that zone of horizontal control he really wants to, right? Create that space and keep out Game & Watch. The bomb gonna take the stock.
I love how Kazii is playing this matchup right now. It's super patient, super passive. This understanding that if you ever make a mistake, you're gonna get so much damage, whether early on from like the up smash, up air combos, or just from the chip damage that you know Olimar is bound to dish out. And so Kazii's playing very patient, utilizing the forward air to try to kill off some Pikmin there, and then of course the bucket to reflect those back and forth, just because of how active and good of a reflector it is.
Absolutely, Hunk did a beautiful job there covering that wave landing. And you're seeing already, right, caught onto the fact that Kazii keeps trying to go to these platforms off ledge. We even see it there, right? The double jump mix-up, gonna go back down, but then going to the platform anyways. Hunk's punished that the last 2 times, and watching how Kazii keeps trying to use these battlefield platforms as a recovery tool, how Hunk adjusts, that's really gonna be the key, because that's where we're seeing both these players make their adjustments so far.
I love the use of, like, shield as an aggressive option sometimes, where we saw Kazii come in with that dash attack directly into a shield just to say, all right, I'm up in your bubble, put some pressure on me, and the immediate payoff from Kazii. All the same, Hunk launching that F smash on that get up attack, calling it out hard.
I was gonna say, speaking of pressure, right, it doesn't get more pressure than an F smash to your face. And Hunk gonna manage to take a stock, maintain what has been a slight lead throughout this game. As much as we're talking about Kazii, right, this pace of play has been so good, but with how defensive you have to play as Game & Watch to keep away, like dealing with this consistent onslaught that is the Pikmins flying in your face, you have to play really defensive. And unfortunately, just Olimar's commitment is less, and so you have more opportunities to keep it going. That being said, unless you got hit by a purple just like that, you had a chance to bring it back, but the F smash gonna come in clutch, gonna hit you all the way to the blast zone, and Game & Watch gonna have to make it happen. Kazii needs to find a win in game number 2 if he wants to stay on the winner's side of this bracket here in round 2.
I will say, I think the MVP of that game right there had to be Hunk's movement. If you go back, that game was a masterclass. Because not only did you have Hunk trying to find their way around the bombs, around the nairs, but then weaving their path in between the reflected Pikmin to find their hits, using short hop into a fade back to just try to bait Kazii into this trap, or dashing in and out with shield, with usage of shield in between to just say, hey, I'm right here, come get me. And just positioning right outside of those burst zones at any and all times.
And now we see the skin swap come out from Kazii here, right? Opting for this light gray instead of the default black we saw in game 1. And while most skins are just cosmetic, this skin color happens to be very similar to the color you change when you do a spot dodge, when you do an air dodge. And so it can be a lot harder with this specific skin to actually see that and call it out. It's something Game & Watch players do a lot as kind of a mind game, as a little bit of a mix-up, and we're seeing it come out here in game number 2.
I will say something that we're seeing right at the beginning of this game, and it had only happened like once or twice the last one, so I didn't want to bring it up. But there's a lot of times where Kazii is just not quite managing the Pikmin damage as well as he might need to. And so he's utilizing up smash to get rid of a Pikmin in scenarios where all of a sudden, Hunk is just going to come in, get the grab, get the up smash, something to dish out even more damage than what you were going to get from the chip.
And Hunk as well doing a beautiful job. The up throw there, gonna close it out, but is using these Pikmin, is willing to, say, sacrifice a purple, which we saw, or a yellow, right? Throw it out, bait out an option like an up smash, right? Which you can use to get those Pikmin off, kill them. That intangibility on the head, so good in this matchup, right? But then play just the perfect range to then have another Pikmin backing you up, where you can then go and whiff punish with an F smash, rack on some damage, and get an advantage state started. He's doing a really good job utilizing the fact that you have not 1 but 3 Pikmin to really play at that mid-range, bait out these defensive options, and then go find the punish anyways.
I love this aggression right now from Kazii, though. We saw the Nair drag down, understanding they weren't going to get quite what they might want with, say, like up tilt or something, getting the grab anyways, and just continuing to keep that pressure on into, like, say, the forward air on shield and to safely start pressuring with the jab.
Hold on, though. That was a... Right, you find the stock, but you don't mean to go quite that low. The trade is going to come out just like that. It's an even game. This is Kazii's chance to bring us to a game 3 here. Doing a better job now racking away some of these Pikmin, but one of the other things that you mentioned, right, Kazii not managing that Pikmin damage, has been a lot of the time he's gotten a Pikmin latched on him while he's already in a move, like a jab, like a forward air, that has a lot of end lag on it. So, like, you see it there, he gets it on, but he has to wait a couple seconds, right, for the end lag to end before he can even get it off, and already taking 10, 15, 20%. And once again, right, these latches you were talking about dealing so much damage, racking it on, and keeping Hunk in this game.
Yeah, I mean, we saw Kazii just kind of dismantling Hunk at the beginning of the stock, but then just a couple of up smashes, all of a sudden, sure, you got rid of 1 Pikmin, but the next one just comes and attaches itself right on you all the same, so did it really matter in that moment?
And the drift there to get a back, right, hold just past the peak of your up B and then find the air dodge, great from Kazii, but unfortunately, you're gonna get grabbed. The blue gonna extend your range just a little bit extra you needed, right? And Olimar, or Elf, we should say, because that's who Hunk was using, and just by the tips of his fingertips, grabbed Mr. Game & Watch, threw him off the top of the stadium, out the center of that dome, and closing it out with another clean 2-0, and an upset to boot, right? That was the 12 seed versus the 21 seed, so Hunk managing to take that game as a 2-0, and, you know, if you were watching game 1, it looked, you know, like Kazii was really controlling the pace of the play, even though Hunk kind of had a solid lead the whole time. But if you were watching game 2, it didn't look anything similar. Hunk was in firm control the entire time and just never let up the pressure.
Yeah, there were so many times Hunk just had Kazii dead to rights. Or even in that last stock where we saw Kazii dismantle for a minute, dish out like 70, 80% right out of the gate. And then all of a sudden, it's just like 3-4 Pikmin, and it's even. And that's the horrifying thing against Olimar, right? Is at any moment, you could just take 50, 70% out of nowhere.
Absolutely, right? Like, the fact that, as well, right, all of the Pikmin have different skill sets. It can be, if you're not used to playing that matchup, right, it can be so hard to keep track of, okay, which Pikmin's in front, right? In Ultimate, there's a little indicator over their head, so it's easier to see, but it's still not easy. As well as, right, you have to know all of their different properties, you have to know the pull order, and you have to keep track of, hey, is this one flowered? Is this one not flowered? Because, right, as that flower grows on the top of their head, it's not just a cute animation, it deals more damage, it deals more hit stun, and overall that Pikmin just becomes an even stronger tool. So, you know, Kazii did a great job early on, right, using those buckets, right, reflecting those Pikmin, but what happened is we just saw Hunk start to bait out those options and get a latch as a punish and then take space. And he was punishing Kazii for using the, on paper, really good defensive options to deal with these Pikmin before they can get set up. And just Kazii never had a chance in, as well as the fact we just didn't see a lot of Nair that whole game coming out from Kazii, which was kind of surprising considering how it deals with Pikmin and deals with just everything you have going on.
And that's the thing, you gotta